You know, when you think about a courtroom, you probably picture all that drama from the movies, right? The surprise witnesses, the shocking confessions. But what if I told you the real story is in the script? Not the one actors follow, but a hidden set of rules that every single person in that room has to obey. Today, we're going to decode that script.
Yeah, let's just push all that Hollywood stuff aside for a second, because the real heart of any trial, the real action, it isn't some last-minute plot twist. It's actually a super detailed set of procedures. And every single one is there for one reason, to make sure it's a fair fight.
So we're going to go on this journey together. But we're not just going to be watching from the sidelines. No, we're diving right into the middle of it all. Think of this as your inside guide to how the whole system works, step by step, to protect everyone's rights.
Okay, first up, setting the stage. Because before anyone even says a word, the courtroom itself has to be set up just right for justice to even have a chance.
I want you to think about it like this. A court proceeding is kind of like a game. A game with really high stakes, for sure. And all these rules, they've been built up over hundreds of years. They're not just there to be complicated for the sake of it. Nope. They're there to make sure everyone plays fair. It makes the whole thing transparent and, predictable for everybody.
So the default setting, it's always public. Justice loves sunlight, right? Transparency is the name of the game. But the law is also practical. In some really specific, rare situations, like say to protect a family's privacy or public order, a judge can actually decide to close the doors and make the session private.
And hey, the judge isn't running this show all by themselves. Not even close. You've got this whole crew working behind the scenes. You have the clerk who's writing down everything. That's the official record. Then there's the bailiff keeping things orderly and calling people in. And you've even got messengers helping with all the little things. Seriously, without this team, the whole process would just stop.
All right, the stage is set. Everyone's where they need to be. Now, the hearing can actually start. And this is where the rules of engagement become, well, absolutely crucial.
This is not some free-for-all debate where everyone just shouts over each other. It's a very structured conversation. There's a specific order to who speaks when. But check this out, because this is maybe the most important part. The defendant always, and I mean always, gets the last word. Why? To make sure they have a chance to answer every single thing that's been said about them. It's a huge part of what makes a hearing fair. And if the public prosecution is there, they'll make their case right before setting up that final response from the defendant.
Now here's something you might not expect. We think of a judge's job as just picking a winner and a loser. But that's not the whole story. The system actually wants people to reconcile. The court can literally encourage both sides to try and work it out, to find some common ground. Because, sometimes the best result isn't a guilty or not guilty verdict. It's just a resolution.
Okay, so after the opening arguments are done, the whole case hinges on this one pivotal moment. The judge looks at the defendant and asks them to respond to the claims. And their answer, whether they admit it, deny it, or just stay silent, that one choice determines everything that happens next. It basically sets the roadmap for the entire rest of the hearing.
You know that old saying, justice delayed is justice denied? Well, it's true. A fair trial isn't just about rules. It's also about moving forward. So, what happens when someone starts messing with the schedule? When they start deliberately wasting the court's time?
See, causing a delay for no good reason isn't just annoying. It can be used as a tactic, almost like a weapon in the case. So to stop that from happening, the system has consequences built right in. It turns that wasted time into a very, very costly mistake.
And believe me, these consequences have teeth. If anyone, and I mean anyone, from the people in the lawsuit to the court's own staff, if they miss a deadline without a solid reason, a judge can slap them with a fine, right then and there. We're talking anywhere from $1,000 to $6,000 layer. And get this, that decision is instant. You can't even argue it.
Now, the court can be understanding, but its patience definitely has a limit. Let's say you ask for a delay and the judge grants it. Okay, fine. But the clock is ticking. You can't get more than a 3-week pause for the same reason. It's a simple rule, but it's powerful. It stops cases from getting dragged out forever and keeps those wheels of justice moving.
So, if you waste the court's time once, you might get a fine. But if you try to pull the same stunt a second time,
the penalties get way steeper. A judge can fine a defendant up to 5,000 layer. The message is crystal clear. You need to take this process seriously.
Okay, so we've talked about the penalties for messing with the schedule. But now let's get to the real heart of the court's power. The judge's absolute authority to control that room and command respect. Think about it. The judge isn't just some referee blowing a whistle. They are the director of this entire production. They control who talks when, they manage the entire conversation, and ultimately, it's their job to make sure the whole thing is treated with dignity.
And the judge has the power to back that authority up instantly. You disrupt the session, you could be looking at a fine or even 24 hours in detention, just like that. But if you escalate things, if you assault someone on the court staff, or even worse, lie under oath, that's perjury, well, the consequences get incredibly severe. The court can basically pause the main trial, hold a new trial for that crime, and hand down the full punishment on the spot.
So what happens if some other crime goes down right there in the middle of the courtroom? The court's reaction is lightning fast. The room basically becomes a crime scene. An official report gets drawn up immediately, the whole thing gets sent over to the public prosecution, and the judge can order the person accused to be detained right then and there. No waiting.
And this right here is the ultimate display of a judge's power. When a judge makes a ruling to punish someone for disrupting the court, that decision is absolute. It's final. You can't appeal it. That one rule just shows you how incredibly important respect and order are to the entire system of justice.
So we've walked through this whole complex system of rules, all designed to make the path to justice orderly and predictable. But it kind of leaves us with one big question, doesn't it? When you look at all these rules we've talked about, which one do you think is the single most important one for making sure a trial is actually fair? Is it that it's open to the public? Is it that the defendant gets the final say? Or is it the judge's power to keep order in the court? Something to think about. Thanks for joining me.